Hey, this is Kaizoku Uncharted. We're a couple of siblings tell the vast sea of anime. If you think this is the crew for you, set sail with us each week. I'm Jakia.
And Justin here. Now, quality assurance in another world. I'm not too familiar who recommended it.
I think it was on my list.
Probably.
I feel like it was on my list. But I think it might have been on both of our lists.
I know it gave me Dragon Quest
vibes.
Graphics.
Yes.
So that would be a reason why I would put it on mine.
I feel like it was on both of our lists.
Sure.
I think it was on both of our lists for different reasons.
Right. It could also have been a name, like quality assurance in another
Right,
world.
absolutely.
Right.
Like, because someone does need to make sure things are quality assured.
It does say it in the title.
Yes.
So, do we have a synopsis of this thing?
Yes. Okay, so Nicola is just a village girl working at the inn until the day dragons invade. And she meets Haga, a scholar of everything around him. He's a part of an elite society called Seeker, created to address a series of maladies plaguing their usually peaceful world. But both Nicola and Haga have secrets they hide, ones that will change each other's very existence. Okay. Quality assurance.
So, how this first starts.
Okay.
I first want to point out, which loses some points immediately.
Is it the dragons?
It's the dragon.
Because I was like, same. I said, in what world are huge toads,
dragons,
toad/tadpoles, because you saw the back, okay, how are they dragons?
I just said these are some whack-looking dragons.
It is.
Now, we see dragons are approaching.
Mm-hmm.
We meet Nicola.
Yep.
The town, we meet Haga, who is surveillancing the area.
Mm-hmm.
And then he has decided to help defend the town.
Yeah.
And are the town folks ratchet? As the town folks are watching him, they're like, this is a pretty dull way to fight.
Well, no, let's back it up. Okay, because even before that, the townspeople are ratchet, and I'll tell you why. Because when we first get attacked by dragons, and people were running away, Nicola falls. And no one helps her. They left her to die.
That makes them ratchet?
Yes.
What?
It does, because everyone's like, oh my gosh, get out of here, run away. People were helping other people leave, but she falls and trips, and no one helps her. And that's when Haga, helps her, hey, don't move. People kept it pushing, because when she gets back to town, no one says anything. They're just like, oh yeah, you're at the inn, doing all this stuff, helping, feeding people, but y'all couldn't help me? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But go ahead. Speed back up to where you were. Yes, the townspeople, they were ratchet and seeing him
I feel like I constantly misunderstand the term ratchet now.
I mean, I think...
Heartless? Sure, for not helping her. But I
think they're ratchet in that moment of being like, hey, that's a pretty dull way to fight. It's a pretty dull way to fight. It's like, they're trash for not help fight. They're trash for...
Well, eventually they do help.
Yes.
The village does help defeat the dragon.
After they are rallied up.
And then Nicola catches fire.
Yes.
And so does the rest of the village.
Yes.
And then
that was a plot twist.
Right. And I was just like, wow, this is how it ends.
I was like, that's crazy.
I was like, thought she could have died when she first fell.
Right. I was like, what? I was like, man, even he was,
I was like, man, it's tough. It hit him hard. And then that's when we find out something's wrong.
Yes.
Haga is actually a debugger.
Yes.
It's been 1 year since he has entered this world.
Yes, he's been stuck in the game for over a year. And I was like, this is also a plot twist I haven't seen in a lot of isekais, but I'm still new to the world of isekai. I don't know how often people are getting stuck in the VA like this. Where it's bad like this, for the debugging stage. Because I like the fact that they're showing us.
Yeah, I've never seen it about a video game. Usually you go to another world.
But usually you've died. And then I was just like, and then you get sent
Sword Art Online, you went to a game.
Yeah, but that's different.
Okay, yeah.
That's different. But also in the sense of these are people who are testing out the game, because we
Right.
also don't, because Sword Art Online, these players,
Right.
they ain't the word.
These are testers.
These are testers, and and they're
beta testers.
They're beta testers of a virtual reality, and this is new. This is all new.
And they're supposed to be reporting all the glitches, the errors.
Right, and so they have a class where they're called Seekers. Okay, and so.
And apparently the game is called Keen Seeker Online.
Right, and so immediately I have questions when we find out that he's been stuck in the game for a year. What happened to the other people on his team?
How many are there?
How many are there? Are there other debuggers, right? Like, why did you want to try to change the story now with Nicola? Because you've seen this play out numerous times. But what changed where you're just like, I'm tired of seeing this?
Right. You didn't see issues at other places?
Yeah, and before, like, you didn't try to help them defeat the dragon before. So what happened? Like, it changed. So I was
what
like,
was the connection?
Right. So I was like, okay. I was like, this is different. And then, we learned more about, and this might be me jumping, it probably is. But we find out that since, in the world with the other testers, people, since they haven't been hearing back from, the main people from
whoever sent them there.
Right, they're not hearing back from the administrators about them not being able to log out, but yet they're still expecting them to submit their findings, because we find out later that for small glitches and things, they resolve those.
Right, and that's the thing.
So that's nothing. So I'm confused.
If people are doing their job,
right,
you clearly see the fruits of their labor,
right,
because it's being resolved.
Right.
So it's not like, so clearly some type of communication has been lost. But you submitting your report, your findings are clearly being resolved.
They're being observed, read,
right,
and we find out later that he's like, no, I'm including in my notes
that we're stuck,
but no one's done anything, but they're still, So it's interesting. So I was like, okay, all right.
And like you said, I mean, basically that's what the whole second episode was. Is we find out that they're QA testers looking for bugs,
right?
And after a year here and no way to leave, no communication from the outside world, it was bound to happen that some of the debuggers would turn to the dark side.
They went rogue. And they used their tablets, and they're not supposed to be using the debug mode.
Yeah. And they were using it as they saw fit. And then that's when we kind of meet the head honcho or the evil debuggers next is because they're doing they literally treat all the people like NPCs.
They treat everyone like, because that's what's there.
And technically they are.
They're NPCs, and they're doing some very heinous things.
NPC darts.
Right. Yeah, they're doing some stuff. Yeah, the president and his it's not a good situation, and
it looks like that's another company.
Right. So we learned that there are other companies. So Haga's with one. It was him and 4 other people.
See, now I want even more questions.
Absolutely.
Because it's if you hired several companies to do the debugging, is there a race to the finish? Do they get something? Why multiple companies for this?
Absolutely, because already we've met 3 different groups. We've already met 3 debugging companies already. Haga's, the one that the president and those ruffians are a part of. Ruffians. And then later on with hold on, what's her name? Akira, because she's she's from a different one. She's from a different one. So far we have 3 different companies, and there are allegedly more. Right?
And it's funny that we're still playing the game, playing the game.
Absolutely, we're still playing the game. We're noticing when there are story plots, side quests and all this other stuff that's still happening.
Or we I don't want to say playing. We interact with the story because there are storylines and stuff. But then we meet a meta AI.
Yes.
That apparently has, I don't want to say taken over Nicola, but she uses Nicola as a
I would say it's a vessel, and she only comes out when she's hungry. And she eats too much. And when she eats too much, Nicola, after she's full, she goes back to sleep. And Nicola just like wakes up like, I don't feel good. And Haga lets it happen because he's like, oh, this is fascinating. We need to write things down. Because I would say, if anything, Haga's committed to the task at hand. He gonna do the job. He gonna report daily. Okay, he reports daily.
Yeah.
But anyways, we find so backing it up. So Nicola, like once Nicola caught flames and the village had like, everyone had caught flames and stuff. Nicola comes back, and like it seems like she doesn't remember catching fire, which makes sense. But it's like it's a loop. But her town doesn't. Because that's the thing I couldn't realize. I was like, did her town respawn after the incident?
Right.
If not, how is she still able to travel with us? So I was wondering, is her town still fine? Or is it because he changed the story by helping them, right? He changed the story by helping
them. Well, he said he tried things several times. I just took it as since the meta AI takes over, that's how she's able to come with us. They're altering the story. Right, but that's my thing. I don't know, because the AI is also saying like, hey, I'm not supposed to get involved with the debuggers. I'm not supposed to get involved with players. Well, that's why she wants us to defeat all the other ones.
Right, and Haga brings up a good point. He was like, couldn't you just do it? Couldn't you just handle this? And the AI is like, no, I'm not supposed to. Like, I could do this. I do have the capabilities to do this, but I'm not supposed to.
She's like us.
Yeah.
Because
she has a code of ethics and stuff that she's
right, because down the road we see the opposite.
Yes, we do, which was crazy. But anyway, so as Nicola and Haga are traveling together, because Haga's like, yes, I'll train you to be a seeker. And so being a seeker, like, debugging is no joke. The fact that they be like, the way he runs against those walls, I'm just like, this is crazy.
You got to make sure.
You got to make sure. And then we come across, because we get to a town and we come across, a wall. We're checking the perimeter and stuff for our reports. And then we come across 2 trash debuggers.
Oh, yeah. Those losers.
They're the worst, okay? They're the worst. Because they immediately could tell that we're seekers. Or they could immediately tell that we're debuggers, right? Mm-hmm. But he was also confused with, like, why are you with the village person? Like, why are you with the NPC character?
Right.
But I think he was also, like, intrigued by, like, oh, this character is able to, like, move outside of its story from how she was responding with stuff. But anyway, so like he immediately shares with us like how they've all gone rogue and like, oh, you're that one debugger that everyone's talking about who actually still does their job.
You're still doing that thing?
Yeah, and so it's just like, so we're learning that Haga is well known in the world as someone who's actually still doing his job, and everyone's talking about it. But he immediately shares, like, the heinous thing that they've been doing. He doesn't even care. He said, I'm doing this. He's taking advantage of these people. Yeah. And then he's just like, oh my gosh. And he was just like, yeah, so you should, like, join us. And I was like, why would you feel like that was a good pitch for anybody?
Hey, he's straightforward.
He was straightforward. And then when he declined and said no, that's when they're just like, oh, you're not for us, so we need to take you out. I was like, that's crazy.
Hey, you could be a problem in the future.
I mean, yeah, so their names are Sakai and Sumida, and so they're just like, all right, we're going to give them a head start, and they basically kind of do like a cat and mouse thing, and I was just like, these people are sick, but I was like, they need to go in the book, and basically, Haga's work pays off, because since he actually does his job, he knows how the walls are.
Right.
And so they followed him being like, oh yeah, this is a spot right here. But Haga's like, hey, there's also there's like an edge of the world. So he plans it out where he's able to maneuver when Sumida's like, I'm going to attack him and take him out. And he just like moves out the way. He was like, oh, this is going to lead to the abyss. And he'll forever. So like, and since they don't do their job,
right, they don't
know about all the things that are there.
We were able to defeat one of them.
Right, because he's just like forever dropping into the void. And Sakai is like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
He was like, you're on your own.
He was like, this is a problem.
This is a problem.
So then we make it to a village and we meet Amino.
I can't stand him. I can't stand him. At first I was like, yeah. And then after I was like, you're a problem.
Okay. I'm not against this.
He's a problem. And I was just like, he's a problem. But,
we have wanted posters.
Okay, well, yeah, hey, before we even get there, we find out, before we get to this new town, we find out what happened to Haga's party. Right?
Oh, how they just separated.
Yeah, because we learned why you don't play in debug mode. Because, like, Haga's like, hey, we need to go to where my team's at, and they're home in our base, which is in a dungeon. And basically, once people realize, like, hey, we're not able to log out, I'm gonna just do whatever I want. So then they played in debug mode, and so one got stuck flying forever in the sky.
Oh, yeah.
One got stuck, decided to do the immortality thing, and so they got a glitch, and so they're forever, like, dying and being revived, and they can't move. And then the other one was just, like, I don't know why his butt's out, but it was, and so he fell, he's stuck in the concrete.
Yeah, I was gonna say, stuck in the ground.
He's stuck in the ground. And he was like, this is why you don't play in debug mode. So I think that was important to say. But the leader's somewhere. The leader's somewhere, and we find out later on from those other lame people, from Sakai and Sumida, that there is a group of people who are just like, hey, we're gonna beat the game because we feel like if we complete the game, we'll be able to log out.
I'm not too clear on
which makes sense. So I was like, okay, so they went their separate ways, and so it's good to know that Haga's like, cool, he's still fine, right? But like I said, we come to this town, and we meet Amano. We meet Amano and Lou, my bad. And he's a problem. Immediately, he's a problem.
He does threaten us, I think.
Yes, he does. Because first we get to this town and everyone's in a T shape, which makes sense because it's like the town's debugged. But since Amano didn't do his job,
doesn't he walk out in a T-shape too?
Yeah, he does.
Just so he doesn't look suspicious.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like if he had did his job and did the simple thing, because like Haga's like, this is a simple fix. All you have to do this, and they immediately corrected it. It was immediately corrected. So I was like, okay, immediately this person is not doing his job.
He wasn't even floating. So like. So how could he think he was blending in?
That's what I'm saying. I was like, this was lame. I was like, I can't.
So Nicola and Lou find out about manga.
Yes.
Because of Amano writing his stories.
Yes.
And word has gotten to the boss about us.
Yes.
So the boss, accompanied by dragons.
Because we learned that he knows how to tame dragons now, which is actually a pretty cool thing that I was like, I feel like he's doing his job in the wrong ways for evil, because I feel like that's totally a cheat code that people are like, oh, how can I train or tame a dragon? Right.
And they basically like, all right, well, we're going to destroy this town.
Right.
And all you see is like, all I was like, oh my God, lose legs. So, town's trampled, Lou's done, Amano is like revenge mode.
Yes.
And because of that, I don't want to say we're allies, but because of that, he will come with us.
He will come with us, but I'm just like, if he was...
To get his revenge.
To get his revenge. My thing is like, he could have... You've been here a year as well. So you could have been training, you could have been fighting, you could have been doing some stuff.
Could have did your job.
Could have did your job so that when the time came for revenge, or the time comes for revenge, you're able to actually do something. But it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. But no, that was sad what happened to her legs. I was like, oh my gosh. Because she was already bedridden. And she was like, oh my gosh. Like, she's like, I feel so free now. Like, I don't even feel like any pain in my legs. And Haga's like, oh no.
Yeah, Haga's expressions on the show.
Wow.
He be out there.
He really do. He's just like.
So
Oh, and to mention, he is also of the thief class, which I thought was like, all right, consistency. Okay. But he
not consistent because
he has a build of a tank.
Yeah, they were just like, I thought you were a warrior.
He's like, absolutely.
So, we start our normal traveling ways, which is crawling and underneath a bush. And I mean, I was like, what are you guys doing?
Which takes forever to get anywhere.
Hey, that's how you stay out of sight.
Which was funny because Haga was like, don't worry, here she are. He had a bush prepared.
Hey, he's got several bushes.
I was like, that's crazy.
So we essentially, clearly time has elapsed because we make it to where the bad debuggers are.
Yes. We make it to their castle where they've taken over the kingdom's castle.
Right.
And they have distorted it and changed it a lot.
And, I mean, we kind of go through a trial that's like, I mean, we go through like a creature, we set bombs, we get through it, and then we run across this Black Knight.
Well, hold on, before that, Nicola is totally a liability, okay?
Oh, wow.
She is. She fell in...
Okay.
She's a liability. Like, she fell into the water. Sure. It was a whole thing, because she wasn't paying attention, all this stuff. I was just like, I said, she's going to be a problem if she doesn't get it together.
Is she also in the I Can't Stand book?
It's getting there.
Oh, okay.
It's getting there. I'm jumping, but I'm not jumping. At the very end, I was like, okay, this is gonna be your saving grace. So in season 2, I need you to come with it for real.
You are not gonna like a question I have for you toward the end.
Okay.
So.
All right.
Oh
wait, before we get to there, we find out we got some important equipment and stuff. Okay. Right from the town. Remember we bought weapons and whatever.
Right.
And we found out, which I thought was it. So like because we were at the blacksmith, and he was like, "Hey, a villager's always gonna be a villager. Okay, like she is never gonna be."
Oh, when we got to the town, so that she could go ahead and register.
Right, to register, and people are just like, "Hey, she can't."
It ain't gonna work.
It ain't gonna work. So he came up with a lie really quick. He was like, "Hey, you have to be at least 14." To join the guild. And she was like, oh my gosh, okay, I have at least another year. I was like, great save. But we end up finding like he bought a skull that the blacksmith was just like, oh yeah, this guy looked like he got money, he can buy this. And basically it's the skull that just like shoots beams, but it only goes off of what your magical potential is. Mm-hmm. But my question is like, if she's always a villager, how come she was able to have such a strong, powerful...
Because it's a meta AI?
That's what I was saying. I was like, is it that, or is it because... I was like, is it because of that, or is it because, like, since she's an NPC character, she doesn't, like, there isn't anything, so it's kind of, like, maxed? Or it's like unlimited? Do you get what I'm saying? Right. I don't know. So I thought that was interesting. But anyways, like you said, we're in there. We're in the town. We're in the tower where the bad guys are, and we're doing bombs. We're taking out monsters. Well, kind of. We stopped because we had a plan.
Right.
We had a plan. So we had a plan where...
To go on a different storyline.
Yeah.
So that we can... To avoid certain stuff.
Yeah, so we can avoid other people. So we're not...
And because of this, we witness all the debuggers kill the leader.
Yes, because we hid in the chest.
Right.
We hid in the chest. And I was like, thank goodness for that chest. Because it fit all 3 of us in there.
So we saw them all. They took a vote. They're tired of him.
They're tired of the president. Because that's his name. They call him president.
So they all stabbed him. And ended him. And then they left.
And they went to go play Jenga with the buildings outside.
And this is why I thought you couldn't stand Amano. We come out, we witness it, and he pull out his little knife.
Yes, this is why.
And started stabbing him.
Absolutely.
After he already been stabbed by like real swords.
Yes.
It's like, get your little knife out of here. We end up running into the remaining debuggers. Mm-hmm. And we basically, once again, with our knowledge, we end up catching them in a...
Well, no, we learned that Amano used to be a part of their crew, which is why he wasn't able to do his job.
Right.
Because he ended up giving away, he ran away, he gave them his tablet, which was kind of dumb. Which was dumb.
Yeah, it's kind of dumb.
It's dumb. And so we learned from that, and so they were basically like, hey, we'll take you back, but you just have to do like whatever we want. You know,
just like the old days.
Just like the old days, but but worse. But they told him that it would be worse, and he was like, sure. And then
they were outnumbered.
They were outnumbered, right? He was ready to risk it all for Haga, and I was like, man,
but he redeemed himself. He used the wind magic.
He did, and they're just like, this is just a gentle breeze.
And we were able to knock them into the beginning of the castle.
Right.
And that's where that hadn't been debugged, so you would be forever stuck there.
Right, because like the story didn't refresh yet, so it's like stuck because it takes time for it to reset. So yes.
And that's when we meet Akira, the Black Knight who's waiting behind us.
Right.
And she's like, "Oh no, I'm not with those guys. I'll join you guys." And we're like, all right, cool. Now we got some real muscle. Yeah,
we really have real muscle now because Amano doesn't have it. Nicola doesn't have it.
But at the end of that episode, we find out the president, is still alive.
Right, because he's a real one. Yes.
And then he makes a secret deal with Amano.
And this is why he's even more trash. So the deal was like, he's like, hey. Because they're just like, oh my gosh, you're alive. He was like, of course I'm. He was like, I'm in a group of people who I don't trust. Of course I will have like a revival stone. I'm not, yeah. And so he was like, hey, I'll make a deal with you. Like, I know how to bring people back. He whispered it to Amano. He didn't let everybody else know about it. He was like, right. He was like, I know how to do it. He was like, you just need to...
Didn't they say he wanted his debugger stone?
Yeah.
Because his got destroyed.
Because his got destroyed. So he remembered where his was, so he went back to where it was. And he gave... So instead of taking it so he could join the righteous cause of Haga to, like, debug the world, he gives it to the president.
Well, that was a mix-over because, into the next episode, because it was like he had left out in the middle of the night.
Yes.
And then there was just like, which kind of annoyed me, and that's what I thought, there's just so many reasons why people would not like Amano.
Yes.
So there was just so much belief in Amano. They were just like, oh, he's doing secret training. And I was just
absolutely. They're just like, of course he is, because he wants to do better.
And I was just like, well, why is there so much belief in this man?
I was like have we not met him? Of course he's not going to do... Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was crazy.
So yeah, he wanted to bring back Lou.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like, it was a twisted... Because she doesn't have any memory of him.
Which makes sense, because I was that thing.
What did he think?
Exactly. Right. That's what I'm saying. I was like, hold on. I was like, this is a game. And I think this is the important thing. Like, they had those breadcrumbs about like, hey, people, you have to do what you need to do to stay sane. The bad debuggers are doing all this random rogue stuff because that's what's keeping them like together. The president was like, hey, we need to get out of here. Like, we're going to focus on more stuff. Haga's like, I'm a debug. That's going to be the way that I keep my sanity from being in here. And Amano's was like, I don't know what his sanity was. Because he was just like rude, just liked his stories. But we know from him that, hey, her side quest was like, you need to tell her a story. So she was going to love any story.
I just love the fact.
She was going to love any story.
She was like, get out of here or I'll scream. And I was just like... Oh my gosh.
I was like, no better for her, because she's an NPC. I was like, what do you think's going to happen when she's brought back?
And he's just like, at least she's alive. And I was like, okay, cool. I was like, if this is the deal you wanted.
Yeah.
But it's okay, because Akira killed him. Kills the president. Right?
No, the president's still out in the world.
I thought he died.
No! She doesn't kill the president. The president's still out in the world.
Can't be.
He is. He's not dead.
Okay.
I didn't, unless I missed something after. I was like, he's not dead. He just went his separate way because they went separate ways.
All right.
Akira killed somebody else, and the upcoming one actually should. Because that made sense.
Talking about episode 9? Where we meet the Giants?
Yes.
Okay, we can go there. I could have sworn she killed the boss.
Wait, did she kill the boss? Maybe I was just too caught up.
Because, I was like, yes, we got an ally, and she killed the boss.
Okay. That's fine.
So he must have showed up.
He must have showed up. I can't remember that part. I think I was just too excited about what happened next was crazy.
So we have a cook-off.
Yes.
As we're traveling, which only makes sense.
Yeah.
And then we meet giants.
Yeah.
And I thought these giants were just misunderstood. Yeah. So we meet some giants. We also meet Gladale or Glalie? Gadale, okay. Yeah. Who's an NPC that thinks that they are a king seeker.
Godale. Yeah. He's like, no, I'm one too. And then like Akira's looking at him like, I was like, are we listening to the voice of this person? I was like, they're not having kids debug. I was like, that's not possible.
But then we find out that a debugger named Yamanaka came by the village and said that he would teach him how to become a king seeker. And I'm like, oh, okay, just like what we're doing with Nicola.
Right.
And he was constantly being, I don't want to say bullied, but he felt he wasn't strong enough. So then the debugger went ahead and was changing his stats.
And made him into
someone that the village hates because they're like, we can't take this anymore.
So this was... I never had rooted for someone being like, hey, we need to get rid of this person. I was like, we need to end this person.
Who, Gadale?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I never, like, immediately because, like, the way he was talking about the Giants, because when we first meet the Giants, they thought they were coming to attack us, but we're like, no, they're running away from something.
Right.
And it was Godel. And then the fact that they're like, hey, you're a seeker, I'm a seeker, the village will love this. Let's go to the village. And so he comes and everyone's just like, hesitation, it's tense, all that stuff. Your voice. All the stuff. And so we end up learning from the village, like how, from a secret meeting that Haga goes to. Because
he eavesdrops on.
He eavesdrops on because, he's just like, something's not right. Something's not right. So he ends up eavesdropping into, like, where the leaders are talking to, like, the main fighters of the village. And they're just like, hey, we need to take Godel out, like, while he is asleep.
Yeah, they're like, we'll kill him while he's sleeping.
While he's sleeping, and then...
Logical, at least.
Right, and he's just like, no, like, he really wants to protect the village. We haven't had any issues since he's here. And they're like, no, he's the problem. He's the liability. Like, it's not a good situation. And we learn that when he gets too excited or when he gets into it with people, like, he actually kills those people. Like, Godel kills those people.
Right.
Because he doesn't understand his strength, but he also doesn't understand what he's doing. And, it was just, like, really sad. It was, like, a sad situation. He just wanted to be, like, a fighter, part of the village, because he was an orphan or whatever.
Wanted to protect him. I'm still under the impression that he is the child of a giant.
Same. Those are right. Because at first, because at the very end, I was like, or the Giants coming to get him. He's one of theirs. Right? And I'm also under that same impression. So, so then Haga's like, hey, don't do it. We'll do our best to try to, like, fix the situation. Because he was like, we could probably debug this. I need to learn more about who the seeker was that was here before.
Right.
And Akira's like, no, we just need... She's like, this is a problem. The best way is to destroy the character. Like, we just need to get rid of him instead of going through this rigmarole.
But he's too tough.
He's too tough. He's too powerful.
So Tesla... it's like, instead of calling Meta AI. So Tesla, who is the AI that has Nicola's body, Tesla goes ahead and eats Yakamaka's stone.
Right.
He's stuck. I'm like, why are we not debugging him?
Yeah, because we go into the cave and we find out that Godel goes to the cave because he knows where he is. And he's been going to Yamanaka to be all like, hey, I don't want to do this anymore. Everyone's keep picking on me. All this stuff. And he's just like, you're not responding to me. Why won't you look at me? Because he doesn't realize. So it's like this NPC is like, I don't know, like he's changed because he's like trying to do all this stuff.
Right.
But we come to find out with a flashback that, hey, he was playing around in debug mode. And he was like, oh, I'm going to try my camera view. And from that, he is forever, he's not attached to his body anymore.
Yeah, that's what happens. And it's like...
And Tesla's able to see that, like, she's able to see what's happening. She comes right out into the floor while Godel's, like, talking to him. And then she looks, and he's like, you can see me? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, you ready to help me? She's like, absolutely. And so she just eats his stone. And I was like, that wasn't helpful. I feel like we should have just, like...
Help her in her eyes.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Tesla's also a menace to society because I was like, hey, this isn't really, like, furthering the goal. Because, like, Yamanaka doesn't seem like a bad person. I don't think he seems like a bad...
We could have used his help, probably.
We probably could have used his help. So, I feel like he's not really the best. We shouldn't have got rid of his, like, stone tablet.
But
that's just me.
Gadel is too strong. He actually could take a sword attack from Akira.
Yes.
And also a skull blast from Nicola.
Yes.
So I'm like, okay, this may be a problem.
Yes, he is a problem. And this is why Akira was like, we should have got rid of him before it became even more of a problem.
Right.
Right.
But problem gets handled.
Yes.
And we start to learn, after we leave, we start to learn more about this world. There's 5 meta AIs.
Well, hold on. Before that, the town gets destroyed.
Oh, yeah,
by the town gets destroyed by giants. Godel basically, like, self-destructs, kind of. Like, he's just like... And that's when I was like, oh, the giants are coming to take him back. But we had to leave, and Hago was hoping to get some reporting done. He never did. And I was like, oh, I hope he go back to town to get the reports.
Like, he'll remember.
He'll remember. But yeah, so like you said, so we end up leaving because, like, Akira's like, hey, we're going to go to the place where I'm home based at. And this goes back to what you were saying, that we learned that there are 5 AIs.
So we meet her development group, the people she works with.
Yeah, we meet Rin and Akane. Akane gets on my nerves. I don't like her. Can't stand her. She's the problem. She's a liability. We
also meet Alba, who is Tesla's younger brother. But this meta AI is intervening in the world opposed to doing his job.
Because we find out each AI rules over a certain kingdom or area. And so Alba's using that to his advantage for saying, like, hey, she has no say what happens over here whatsoever. And so, yeah, he's intervening. He's sending people to... he's sending people to, like... to the dungeon, and it's a real dungeon. It got over 1,000 floors.
Yeah, it's real.
It's a real dungeon. Because he's like, hey, Haga's gonna send a report to, like, to whoever that this AI is, like, bugged out,
out of control.
It's out of control, and I feel like Tesla should have been with him or more alert. And tried her best to stay up this time because I'm just like, she knew that something was gonna happen. I was like, you should have stayed with him the whole time, but she didn't. She went to sleep, and that's how that's how the group starts to get separated. But yeah, Haga's sent to the very bottom floor,
to the 1,000th floor,
to the 1,000th floor.
But he uses some of his tricks of the trade as he continues to try to climb up.
Right.
And.
Oh, but then Akane and Akira and Amano are also separated, but as a group.
Right.
And it's just funny because Ren's like, oh yeah, thank goodness you, like, you know, he was like, I'm so glad, telling Alba, like, hey, I'm here for you. He was like, I'm glad that you're sending them off. And he was like, yeah, whoever put their name in the thing, you know, that's what's going to be sent off. And he was like, oh my gosh, like, not everybody, right? And he was like, what do you mean not everybody? He was like, it's not like Akira and Akane put their name in there. He was like, yeah. He was like, oh my gosh. And so he's like, so we learned that he can't, once he sends them away, he can't bring them back.
Right.
That's how I took it. And so
he doesn't know his own stuff.
He doesn't know his own stuff. But anyway, so as Haga is going through, he runs into a goat. I feel like that's probably one of the strongest characters I've seen in a very long time. I would not want to go up against him.
I thought. Well, what about the library?
Well, no, I thought. Remember, he goes. He encounters the goat in the room first. Like, he walks by it, and then he's just like, "Ooh, I need to turn back around because maybe there's something here that can support me."
I thought he saw the books first because he was like, "Oh, I can catch up on some debugging."
I mean, that's true too.
And then it was like, "Oh my God, we've been out here for 3 days," and then that's when it's like the goat.
That's true. Okay, yeah. So there you go.
But then we find out from the other party they run into a casino that's down here.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay. But we find out about another debugger who is in the library.
Right.
She's a big question mark now.
Yes. But she wasn't always a question mark.
Right.
She was a lizard person, a lizard swordsman, and was good at her job. But because of like a skill or something, it ended up turning her into a question mark. But she's been down there forever.
Right.
And so she's read almost all the books except for the ones in the back.
And the goat you're talking about, the raid boss.
Yes.
Silence.
Dangerous.
Is on the 1,000th floor.
But here's the thing. I think it's great that we were sent to the place after you defeat him.
Right.
Which is great.
I was also confused by the layout because, like, we were able to go to the casino.
Yes.
I was like, okay. Also, more reason to hate Amano. He's wagering.
Well, no, it was Akane first.
Well, they both are horrible.
They are both horrible, yes. No, they are. They're both awful. But no, so he was only able to get to the casino because he figured out the thing with the books. Because like the books, like when certain yeah, when certain he made a pathway
to walk around.
Because silence is all about hearing. He's not about seeing anything; it's about hearing stuff. And so he noticed in the library that when the darker leather books fell, they didn't make a sound.
Right.
And so I was like, oh, so they just used those to like get across.
And we also, Akane and Amano tried to run out on their bill. The debt
Absolutely, yes.
But that's how we found out about Silence's devastating destructive power.
Yes.
And finally, Nicola wakes up back at the castle.
Yes.
And we're basically told that they went without you. Here's some funds so you can make it. But she knew they were lying.
It took her a while to realize her lying.
I took it as like she was going with the flow, but she knew.
No.
She knew.
Nah, she was just like, it's true. I've been holding them back. And I was like, all 100%. I was like, Amane's also doing it, so don't worry.
So, how I ended it was like, they go back to, we beat Silence. But then we find out Silence has a second form.
Which was not okay.
I was like, oh my God.
I was like, this is not appropriate. I did not appreciate it. I was like, what's going on with this game?
And then Nicola is like, I gotta save them. So she's getting ready to go on an adventure.
But then she turned back around.
Right.
Because it's after she ate the sandwich is when she realized, like, because she was down. You're talking about, like, immediately. I'm like, nah. She packed her bag. She left the town. She walked, like, a half a day. Then
she gotta fool these fools. They're watching us.
No. She left the town, walked half a day, kingdoms in the distance. Then she eats and she's just like, man, I'm down on my luck. And then she remembers the sandwich that the nice old lady made for her. Yep. And she dropped the sandwich, which made me mad. I said, why is it so hard for you to hold the sandwich? So then she dropped the sandwich and then she was like, no, they are still there. Yep. I'm going back. And so she picks up the sandwich and eats it. and then walk.
Listen, there were guards outside our doors. They weren't letting us do nothing. This was all a part of it.
It wasn't a part of it.
She's like, I got to get out of here first.
No, it is not a ruse. It is not. I don't know. Just you need to let it go. Like, she believed then that they left her. Okay.
Like a lot of people you can't stand.
It's not that many. It's just Nicola. Nicola's on the way out. I'm not going to put her in the book all the way, but Amano's already done. Akane's already done.
The Eva Debuggers.
Yeah, they're trash.
I feel like Alba I can't stand.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, we're already up to 6. Like, jeez.
There's a lot. Yes. Okay, fine. Maybe that's a lot.
That's all I was saying. So my question with you now.
Yeah. Why? What's the question?
Because how it ended. She's getting ready to come. She's got her staff.
Yeah, but the skull. Oh wait. Sidebar. Another reason why Armando's trash. He left the skull in the cave because we have not seen that skull since.
Okay.
I
like to think they just didn't show it. She has to have it.
She don't got it.
Okay. She's got the skull. I assure you.
She ain't got it.
So she's getting ready to travel back on her adventure. If you look at the ending credits, they be looking at how she going, the different classes that she want to be for an adventurer.
I know.
Who's the main character?
Of the show?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I mean, look, I say this all the time. There can always be 2.
There can be 2.
There can be 2. Janae hates that theory. And sometimes you do too. But right now, I feel like it's Haga and Nicola, but okay. I would say Nicola is actually at the forefront, which is unfortunate. So I feel like she's like, there are 2 main characters, but she's currently primary. She's like, because they said so many crucial things. A villager's always going to be a villager.
Right.
Why are you trying to why are you?
She's got the divine split personality.
Right. I'm just like,
she's breaking out of the mold of a villager.
Absolutely. All these things.
Now, with that being said, what's your rating? Possible season 2. If it gets picked up.
I feel like right now, because I just have too many questions. Too many things are left unanswered for me right now. Too many things are left unanswered for me.
You got a lot of people you can't stand.
Got a lot of people I can't stand. I'm not going to lie. I do appreciate the graphics of this show. Okay. I do. And I was just like, I will also say this show fooled me. Okay?
Oh, from the title?
Oh, no. I thought this was going to be a wholesome, fun show. Oh. Absolutely not. It is violent. It's like stuff is happening in this show. And I was just like, I was fooled. I was a chump. Okay? I would say I'm going to give this a 7. I'm going to give this show a 7. I'm going to give it a solid 7 because they have a lot to go from. They're building the world I appreciate the way that they're building the world. And so I'm only going to give it a 7 from that.
I'll give it a 7.5.
7.5? Okay. So 7 and 7.5. I like that. But yeah, they're just too much. But I will say, I think Haga is probably... I would put Haga in my list of most intelligent people in anime right now. Because of how the way that he's maneuvering this world, I think he's really up there with a lot of people who are quite, the strategists. And I was like, he's up there. I was like, he has my vote. If I had I don't know if I have a top 20, I could probably put together a top 20. Mm-hmm. He would be in that top 20.
Okay.
Maybe in the top 10. He's handling it pretty well.
Okay.
But yeah. So that's quality assurance. Let us know what you think. And that's this week's episode of Kaizoku Uncharted.